I'm gonna be honest, I really don't want to film right now. It is May 22nd, and I have still yet to even film, not even just start editing, film my April wrap-up. I don't know why these last couple of weeks I have not been wanting to film anything, not even like reading vlogs or like my reaction to Euphoria or The Deal on TikTok. I have not been wanting to film. So I need to get this filmed today, even though I don't want to. I need to, or else I'll never get it done. But yeah, I don't want to film today, so my hair is a mess. I don't have any makeup on, and I'm in clothes that I don't normally film in. So we'll see how it goes. I have my notes right here. I did really like the format that I did last time where I didn't do tier rankings. I just went through, or am I doing, is this the first time? I think I did it last time where I didn't do the tier rankings. I just went through everything. So I have my notes right here to go through everything. So anyway, let's get started. So first up, I have podcasts. The first podcast is America's Most Infamous Crimes. This was a new podcast for me. The host is Katie Rain. I'm sorry if I'm looking down. I'm like, have my notes right here. The host is Katie Rain, and it is a true crime podcast. So the way this podcast works is a little unique. There's 3 episodes to 1 case, and the episodes release Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you are still getting like 1 case a week, but you're getting 3 episodes a week, so there's 3 episodes to 1 case. I'll be honest, this one was a little harder for me to just follow along with. I don't know if it was like, because with like, you know, my other, like my favorite true crime podcast, Clues, it's more of a conversation between the 2 hosts, and like with the one host, it was more of like a storytelling of the true crime case. So I don't know if maybe that had something to do with why I had such a hard time following along. What I will say though is that I really liked that when the host, when she's like going over the case, she is very informative and very like formal and just goes over the case, doesn't mince words or anything. And then at the end of each episode, she'll have like a segment where she answers questions and gives her opinions on the case. So like when she's actually giving the case, it's very like not her opinions are bleeding in. I did give this one a 3 out of 5. However, it's just like not my favorite. It's not one I see myself reaching for all the time, but I will probably listen to it again every once in a while. So then next up I have Clues. This is a classic. It's been in many a wrap up. Again, this is a true crime podcast hosted by Morgan Absher and Kaylin Moore. Like I said when I was talking about the last podcast, it feels very much more like a conversation between the 2 girls instead of like formal, like they do give like the formal timeline or whatever, but it just feels more like a conversation. So it is easier for me to personally to follow along with. And I always mention this, but something I do like is that every podcast they have a missing person of the week, so they highlight a current missing person case, which I feel like is great. It gives eyes on the case. And I do like that the 2 girls try to be like, obviously with the subject matter, it's never going to be like lighthearted and fun, but they do try to be as lighthearted as possible. They're very good about giving trigger warnings and like trying to just like not be so downcast about everything. I do like that. I do like that they also keep track of like police botches. So like if the police do something and it's like why, they'll keep track of that. And they do like, they obviously cover like very popular cases, but they also do some lesser known cases that maybe you haven't heard of. So I do really like that as well. This is one of my favorite podcasts out there, just period, not even just for true crime, and I give it a 5 out of 5. So moving on to movies, the first movie I watched was the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. This is obviously a sequel to the first Five Nights at Freddy's movies. It follows the second game loosely, I would say. It's not a very tight adaptation in my opinion. There is an after credit scene, so if you are planning on watching it, do make sure you watch that as well. It gives a hint to the third movie. I personally really liked this one better than the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I thought the overall story with the marionette and everything was just creepier, and I like that. And then I also thought like just the stakes in general were higher. Instead of like just this one family being affected, it was a whole town that was going to be affected by this. And Josh Hutcherson is obviously the love of my life, so like how could I not love this movie? If you don't know what this one is about, it basically follows the characters from the first Five Nights at Freddy's games. They discover a new location that was also affected by William Afton and the horrors and stuff. So they go there, and there is a new force to deal with that is a little bit more malevolent than the ghosts in the first movie. But like I said, I really like this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next movie I watched was 13 Ghosts. This follows a man whose wife had recently passed in a tragic accident, and he finds out later that his great uncle or something also passed and left him this beautiful house that's like all windows basically. But he left them this beautiful house to him and his 2 children. However, when they go to the house to inherit it, I think they're trying to sell it. They don't really want to stay there, but they go to the house to check it out. They discover there's a secret that his uncle kept in the basement that it causes a lot of problems, let's just say. I just want to state first and foremost, I didn't know going into this movie that Matthew Lillard was in it. So it was kind of like a jump scare when he popped up. I was like, what? Ariana, what are you doing here? For me personally, I would say this is more of a horror comedy than just a horror movie. It's not personally scary to me. I could see how it is scary to some people though. It is an amazing bad movie. It's not great. I'm not gonna lie. It's not great. But it's a good bad movie. So like, and I like bad movies, so I liked it. I do see myself coming back to this one time and time again. However, I do have to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. The next movie I watched was the 2024 edition of Nosferatu. This is like a gothic semi-horror movie. Again, I don't really consider it horror, but it is under the horror category. This follows a girl who, in the past, she was very much connected to this otherworldly being. However, one day she gets married and she's very happy with her husband, but this otherworldly being doesn't want to let her go and is willing to like fuck up everything in the town she lives in to be like, no, you're actually mine. But not in like the dark romance hot way. Like in a this is a problem way. I thought at some points, specifically the exorcism scene and then the scene where her husband was going to visit Count Orlik, I thought those were a little corny. But overall, this movie has some beautiful visuals. It has amazing acting in it. Lily Rose Depp, I feel like, did an amazing job with her character. Again, the exorcism scene was a little corny, but... And I will say some points, like some scenes did feel a little dragged out, but overall, I did really like this movie. I thought it was great. It's not one that I would see myself rewatching a ton, but I didn't hate it. I did give this one 3 out of 5, however. Next up, I watched the Netflix documentary Louis Theroux Inside the Manosphere. It follows documentarist Louis Theroux as he explores the toxic masculinity that has pretty much taken over the internet, especially podcasts. I love that how all of these guys somehow think that they will come off as the good guys in this documentary, but then you like listen to them and you're like, how are you serious? There's one guy whose mother even tells him like, well, I know he's toxic and I don't agree with him, but he's like my son and I love him. He's like, yeah, whatever. Dude, even your own mother is like, you're saying the bullshit. I will say this is the first Louis Theroux documentary I've ever watched, and while I did really like this one, I'm not really inclined to go watch more. And I did have to watch this in parts. I couldn't sit down and watch all of it at once because I felt like I was losing my mind watching it. But overall, really good, 4 out of 5. And then the last movie I watched this month was The Devil Wears Prada. This was obviously in preparation to watch The Devil Wears Prada 2 when it came out. This movie follows a wannabe journalist named Andy Sachs, and she wants to work for Runway magazine because the editor-in-chief, Miranda Priestley, if you can work under her for a year, you can pretty much get a job anywhere you want. However, Andy thinks that since it's a fashion magazine, it will be an easy, smooth ride, nothing serious, and she is quickly thrown for a loop when she realizes that this job, and Miranda in particular, are not going to be a walk in the park. Miranda is known for not settling it for anything less than perfection and demanding the best out of everyone. She's my icon. She's called the Dragon Lady and a bitch, and I love her. It is a coming-of-age story, but also a cautionary tale about what being so focused on one aspect of your life, particularly work, can do to you. And it has some amazing actors in it at the beginnings of their career, because this was, I think, Emily Blunt's first big role, and this was around the time that Anne Hathaway was transitioning to more adult roles. Obviously, Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci, they were pretty well established. But yeah, this is just like a classic. I love this movie. I will never say no to watching this movie. I love it so much. It is getting obviously 5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have video games. First up, I have Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is 2 out of 5. I still hate this game. I have kind of given given up on just playing it to see if I can like it. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I can't do it anymore. It's like, I just don't like it. I can't exactly put my finger on why I don't like Animal Crossing. I just don't like Animal Crossing. And then I have Pokemon Omega Ruby. Now, I know I said last month I need to take a break from Omega Ruby, but I think I just need to take a break from fishing because I stopped shiny hunting with fish, and I moved on to other shiny hunts like Snav and Horde hunting and Masuda method, and I have been enjoying it a lot more lately. I think I was just in a rut with the fish. Follow my Instagram and TikTok to see shinies when I get them, or like a day or two after I get them. I am currently trying to soft reset for Trico and Alpha Sapphire, but seeing as how my Bulbasaur hunt in Leaf Green is going, we will see when I get that. But my love has been rejuvenated for this game. It's 4 out of 5. Next up, I have Pokopia. This is still one of my favorite games that I have played in recent years. I am addicted to this game. However, I will say I have barely picked it up the second half of April and all of May so far. So my obsession has slowly been dwindling down and dying down. I can finally get back to real life again. I still have very fond feelings for it though. Whenever I look at my old pictures or go through my Switch pictures, it just brings me happiness. I've just been distracted by other games lately, and we'll get to that in a moment. But again, Pokopia is still an amazing game, still one of my favorite games I have played in recent times. Highly, highly recommend. I give it a 5 out of 5. However, the game that has been distracting me from this game lately has actually been the Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. Now, this is a remake of the Harvest Moon game. If you don't know the whole story between Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon, I do recommend looking it up. I'm not going to get into it here, but this is a remake game. Basically, it follows you as you become a farmer in this new town, and this town used to have a grand bazaar. It has slowly been dying down over the years, and therefore the town has been dying down itself. Your job is to restart the bazaar, build it up again so it can be as best as it can be, and therefore by building up the town. The only other Story of Seasons games I have played is A Wonderful Life, and I will say I do like this one a little bit better than Wonderful Life. There is some voice acting in this one, and I don't think I like it though. I chose to romance Jules. However, I don't feel so attached to him, like Sebastian from Stardew Valley, for example. He's fine. My only complaint so far with this game is that to get new clothes, you have to make the supplies yourself, which is fine. However, they don't tell you what supplies you need until you go to the bazaar and are there, and then you can see what supplies you need. So I'm like, that's annoying to me personally. But again, I've really been loving this game. It's taken over my love of Pokopia and been distracting me from that, so it's gonna get a 5 out of 5. Next up is Pokemon Leaf Green. I'm still resetting for the Bulbasaur, so I have not played the main game yet. I'm currently at 331 encounters, which I know is not a lot, especially with the odds being 8,000. 2 out of 5. Again, I'm just hunting for Bulbasaur at the moment. I haven't really played. Then we have Sharkbait. As you know, I've been playing this game. It's a dating simulator with sharks. I've been replaying this game in order to get a legendary ending with my main choice, which is the Great White Shark. I am getting to the last couple episodes, and I've just been getting so antsy that I don't want to play it because I'm anxious because I know a lot's about to happen all at once. But I still love this game, obviously, so much. It's 3 out of 5. And then the last game I have is Pokemon X. Same thing with Pokemon Omega Ruby. I don't know what it's been lately, but I had a resurgence for this game. I have been so into playing. I think because Pokemon X and Y, the middle part of the story kind of drags on a little bit, and then once you get over that, it's go, 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 go. And I think I got over that middle part, so now I'm in the go, 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 go part. So I've been playing that a lot lately. I do still personally think Omega Ruby is a better game, but I have been having fun with this. I give it 3 out of 5. And then lastly, we have the books that I read this month. First off is Baby Doll by Thea Lawrence. This was in a Romance Reveal book box that I got, and this will be in a reading vlog that I am doing. I have finished it. Obviously, I finished the book. I'm currently in the middle of editing it. It is book 1 in the Revolver series, and it does leave off on a cliffhanger, just so you know. I do think the second book's already out, though. This follows a music journalist who is assigned a story to follow around this new and upcoming band who grew in popularity basically overnight. Their name is Revolver. And she is to go on tour with them on their first major tour to get the behind the scenes and see how the band acts when they're not off stage and write her impressions of them, basically. The lead singer of the band, however, hates journalists. He's notorious for hating journalists and having a bad boy reputation and just overall being a nuisance to society. So she doesn't get along with him right off the gate. Obviously, it's because, like, they have undermined feelings for each other. There is, like, a secret dating trope in it because, like, they can't be seen dating because, one, it will ruin his reputation, and two, she will get fired from her newsstand and will be seen as, like, not a reliable source. This book took me fucking forever to read. I kid you not. I was reading it for, like, 4 months. Like, I would read it 10 pages in it and I'd be like, I need to read something else. It's not bad necessarily. It's just super boring and the characters are, like, kind of unlikable. The two main characters are unlikable, I should say. I loved the side characters. I thought the side characters were amazing. But the two main characters were super unlikable. And you can tell they weren't supposed to be that way, so this book took me forever to get through because, like, the plot was boring and the two people who I was with all the time, I couldn't stand. I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. I think if the premise sounds interesting to you, give it a try, but if you have any hesitation to it whatsoever, do not pick it up. The next book I read is By the Book. This is by Josie Watts, and it is book 4 in the Sweet Side series. However, these books can be read as standalones. This follows a girl who owns a romance bookstore, and she, like, has had instilled in her since she was a child that she just hates men. She cannot stand anyone who's male. She literally, like, anyone who's male she doesn't want to talk to. She will only talk to females, basically. And the man that provokes her the most is actually her work next door neighbor who owns a gym. He just moved in. And she is also convinced, for no reason whatsoever, that he wants to buy out her store so he can expand his store. Again, for no reason whatsoever other than, like, the landlord is evicting her. But then she mentions multiple times that, like, she has been having trouble keeping up with her rent. So, but she's convinced that this guy is trying to kick her out of the building, and he kind of has, like, a crush on her from the beginning. He's pining, and she confronts him. She gets drunk one day and goes and, like, confronts him about this, and he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And, like, they go to the landlord's office to clear it up, because he's like, I'm not trying to buy you out. And she just won't listen to him because he's a man, so, like, why would she listen to him? But while they're at the landlord's office, they hear a crime going down, basically. And they flee the crime scene, and they go to the police, and the police, like, they come, but there's not really, the crime scene has been cleaned up, so the police don't believe them. And when she gets back to their house, her apartment, she finds out that whoever was the culprit in the crime knows that she was there and has it out for her. So then the guy and the girl are working together. She begrudgingly, him so excited about it, but they're working together to solve the case so that way she can be safe again and there's not criminals out to get her. I will say, first and foremost, I really like the mystery thriller side plot. I wasn't expecting it going into it, so it caught me off guard, and I really liked it, and I honestly didn't see who it was until it was revealed. However, the FMC was so fucking annoying. Like, I hate men. I do. But even I was like, girl, you need to calm down with your hatred of men. And then she has, like, this coworker, like, her employee, who was in a bad relationship. And again, so the FMC uses that as, like, a plot point for, like, why she should hate all men, because her one coworker was in a bad relationship. And even her coworker is like, well, no, just because my ex sucked doesn't mean, because her coworker, like, kind of has a flirtation with another person, and the FMC literally goes up to her and, like, kind of berates her about it. She's like, how could you even talk to him after what you went through, and you know, like, how men are? And she goes, just because my ex was bad doesn't mean all men are bad. Like, I really like this guy. He seems really nice. Like, chill out. The main character did develop in a way, and by develop, I mean that after the MMC proved that he could make her feel good, she was like, well, I guess this one guy is worthy of my attention. I finished the book. It was quick and easy. Like, I think it was like 300 pages, but the pages felt like they were flying by, so it didn't feel like 300 pages when I was reading it. But I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. I fucking hated it. Then, I'm so excited. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this book. I have Hunt the Villain by Rena Kent. This was my most anticipated book of the year because it is the second book in the Villain series. The first book being Kiss the Villain, which was one of my favorite books last year. So I was really excited for this one. And boy, did it live up to my standards and more. This follows Vaughn and Julian. Vaughn is set to inherit the New York Bratva, and he is very stoic. He is by the book. He doesn't take chances. He has his life mapped out basically, and he's in this relationship. He's been in this relationship since high school, and he likes his girlfriend, and he's like, I like her, I can see me spending the rest of my life with her, but he doesn't have any, like, strong emotions toward her. And then enters Julian, who is set to inherit the Chicago Bratva. And Julian is chaos incarnate. So if you know Nikolai from God of Fury, think Nikolai times a million. I was like, Julian, chill out. Like, he was giving me stress, and I was reading about him. Julian is chaos incarnate. He's very much live today because you don't know if you're gonna live tomorrow mentality. And he just does what he wants when he wants. He has heterochromatic eyes, which is, like, very important. And Julian desperately wants Vaughn's attention. Like, he is always trying to get Vaughn's attention. And Vaughn, like, he hates Julian. He has such strong emotions in his hatred toward Julian, sorry. And he's like, oh, I hate him so much. And then, I mean, this isn't a spoiler because it was mentioned in Kiss the Villain, and then it's like the first chapter here, but like, Julian sleeps with Vaughn's girlfriend to get his attention. And boy, does it. And we just go from there. Again, this is a dark romance. It is an MM Mafia romance. It's hidden relationship, golden retriever, black cat, and then it's always been you. It's always been you, which is like one of my favorite tropes of all time. You do get to see a flash forward for like the first 50 pages of when Vaughn and Julian first met when they were teenagers, and then it flashes to them in college. This has quickly become my favorite romance book of all time. Not my favorite book of all time, that will probably forever be Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, but this is my favorite romance book of all time. I finished a book, and then I immediately opened it back up to page 1. I was like, I need to reread this. You can ask anyone who knew me in real life. I was going on and on and on and on about this book when I first finished reading it. This book, I think about it every day. I kid you not. I think about this book every day. There is not one thing I would change about this book. Not one. I love this book so much. I do already have Crave the Villain, which is the last book in the Villain series, pre-ordered, but I cannot see how I could possibly like it more. The only thing it can be is as good as Kiss the Villain. Because I still really liked Kiss the Villain, but it's nothing compared to Hunt the Villain. 5 out of 5, obviously. The next book I have is Zane. This is by Kat Baxter. This is book 1 in the Bad Boys of Saddle Creek series, and it's like less than 100 pages, so I read it in like one sitting. It was so easy. I will say I also read Hunt the Villain in one sitting. And this was 500, and it was 500 pages. But I read it in one sitting. But Zane I read it in one sitting. It was less than 100 pages. It follows this guy and this girl who they've been best friends since high school. He's kind of like the bad boy, wrong side of the tracks. He's a tattoo artist, and she's a good girl. She is on the spectrum, so there is autism rep on here. She's on the spectrum. She is very smart. I don't know what she does for her job, but it's like one of those really high-paying corporate jobs. I don't know what she does exactly. I think it's like a technical analyst, but I'm not positive. And she's like never really seen, he is like known for sleeping around, but she's never really seen herself be in a relationship because she just can't see herself being comfortable enough with someone like that. But she does meet one day a co-worker who has like a lot of her similar quirks in it, and she goes, well, I guess if I were to be in a relationship, he would be the most practical choice. So she asked her friend, his name is Zane, to give her dating lessons because she doesn't know how to do any of that. Little does she know he's been in love with her since high school. So there's like fake dating for 2 pages because it's less than 100 pages. We can't stay there, or like dating lessons, I guess. But like it's less than 200 pages, so we can't stay there for long. It is also plus size FMC, so there's that. Pining from the MMC there. It's quick and easy, like I said, less than 100 pages, not a lot going on that you need to focus on. It was fine. 3 out of 5 stars. It was nothing special, but I didn't hate it as much as I hated, like, buy the book. And then the last book I have this month is It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn. This is obviously the 7th book in the Bridgerton series. It follows Hyacinth and then Gareth Sinclair, who is the grandson of Lady Danbury. I almost said nephew. He is the grandson of Lady Danbury. And it is known throughout the town in London that Gareth and his father hate each other. They don't get along. They're hardly ever seen in a room together, but Gareth loves his grandmother, Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury also happens to be very fond of Hyacinth. Hyacinth and her like read a book together every Tuesday, I believe. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But they read books together all the time, and Hyacinth is known to be the future Lady Danbury in society. And Lady Danbury and Violet Bridgerton both desperately want Hyacinth and Gareth to get together because, first of all, Hyacinth's whole family wants her to just marry someone. They're like, anyone who can handle Hyacinth can have her, basically. Like, obviously they want her to be treated well and they don't want her to be, like, married to a monster, but they're like, if a man comes to us, like, Anthony literally, like, spoiler alert, Gareth and Hyacinth get together, but, like, there's literally a scene where, like, Gareth is, like, talking to Anthony, and Anthony's like, if you think you can handle her, have her. Like, she'll let me know if you're mistreating her, but if you think you can handle her, go ahead. Because, like, I don't think anyone can. And Gareth, I will just say, is the most rakiest of rakes we have seen yet in the Bridgerton series. So, the spice scenes were really good, in my opinion, in this one. There is a mystery element to this one, too, which I liked because it gave the side plot to the romance a little something more. Because I feel like the Bridgerton books, the romance is, like, the only plot, and then the side plot, like, is not really there. This one actually had a side plot that we stayed with, and we solved, and we figured out, and I really liked this. It kept me engaged, even when, like, their romance was going through its ups and downs. I really liked this one. I obviously don't like it as much as the Viscount Who Loved Me or Sir Philip with Love. I'm gonna do a whole Bridgerton, like, recap when I finish the series finally, but, like, the Viscount Who Loved Me is my favorite Bridgerton book, and I doubt, because I only have one more book left, and then I have the Book of Epilogues, I doubt Gregory's book is gonna top that one, because, like, the Viscount Who Loved Me is the second book. I'm on the 7th book, and nothing's topped it. But I did still really like this one. It's one of my more favorite Bridgerton books, 4 out of 5. But yeah, that is everything that I read, watched, played, listened to in the month of April. I'm so glad to finally get this out of the way. Like I said, I have not been able to bring myself to film anything these last couple of weeks, so I'm hoping I can get out of this funk soon, but I will see you all next time. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. I do have all my link trees to all my other social medias that I post on a little bit more frequently than YouTube, so do check those out if you want to see this face. I don't know why you would want to, but if you do more,